Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well on this Friday, 29 September 2023. It is with pleasure that we meet today to talk about FTM, Fantom's crypto. As usual, we will dissect it into two parts. Fundamental part, we will come back to what Fantom is, to its news. You will see that there are still quite a few things. And then we will attack the technical part to project short, medium, long term on purchase prices, sales prices. And it starts right away. We'll start by reminding you of what Fantom is. Fantom is a level 1 blockchain. That is to say, it is an infrastructure blockchain which aims to provide developers with functional blocks to build decentralized applications. Overall, it is a public blockchain which is based on the notion of DAG. It is the representation of a DAG. So it is transactions which are unstructured and linked together. It's not a classic blockchain, so it's something that we've already seen for some time. And this is a form of DAG, which is asynchronous. So it's something which is still apart, and which is a technology that works very well with a very short purpose. Next to Fantom, it is a layer 1 which is EVM compatible, which means that it can execute smart contracts in Solidity. So that is to say only pieces of code or applications which are developed for Ethereum, Polygon, or any other blockchain that is EVM compatible can also be executed on Fantom. The big advantage is that Fantom already has an ecosystem that is already well developed, in which we have people who are actively working to develop the ecosystem, and we have a gas monetization policy. What does that mean? This means that we can simply earn part of the fees that are used in the blockchain through its application, which is rather positive for developers. And we are no longer in this policy of really forcing the hand to be able to build applications with the incentive. There is zero incentive, and yet we have a lot of projects that are being built on Fantom, which is rather positive in the long term. Speaking of incentives, I remind you that Fantom has more than 200 million in cash, which is relatively substantial to be able to prepare for the next bull run and have a runaway. Besides, we have a big problem at the level of Fantom, which was on the main Fantom bridge which collapsed, which was not hacked, but in which the CEO strangely disappeared in China. The funds also disappeared. Part of the funds are still present, but overall we no longer use them. And this was precisely resolved with the possibility and integration of two new bridges and new solutions, which are Layer 0 and Axelar, which are very good bridges, moreover, and which allow us to be able to interesting with all the other blockchains. So we still have quite a bit of other information, notably the integration of Fantom at the level of Google's public blockchain, in which we don't just have that. We don't only have Fantom being in 5th position. We have Avalanche, Arbitrum, Kronos, Gwirly, Near, Optimism, Polkadot, Polygon, Mainnet, Polygon Moonbay, which is therefore a net test, and then Tron. So we have 11 blockchains which have been integrated into BigQuery, and I think that will continue. And it shows that Fantom remains an essential and important player in which there is an ecosystem, there is data to integrate. And besides, to show you that things are moving a little bit, we still had a lot of information during an event which took place in Singapore, where we had a teaser which took place on Fantom 2. We had very little information. So I don't know if it's a trick or a real development. I know that a year ago, I spoke to you about it in several videos, where during an intervention at a convention, they explained that they were working on the notion of scalability and hyperscalability of their asynchronous DAG, that it was complicated and that it was going to be necessary to transform the blockchain. Fantom, and here we are talking about Fantom 2. So we are still relatively far from very strong structural transformations. On the other hand, we have very, very high performances because we are on finality times which are less than a second. To see and follow reality, because it's the same, here it's on the net test. We'll have to see how it goes on the net main, and above all, how they will pass. Are there going to be new functionalities? Are we going to be once again on a schematic of I bring functional bricks, but which are not in the spirit of the times, in which we are not in a narrative? So that really helps determine. In any case, we have a solution that is evolving, and clearly, as we saw in 2023, they did what was necessary to continue to evolve. We have lots of news in this direction, which is rather positive for the ecosystem itself. Next, from a technical point of view, technically you will see that it is not necessarily the same thing. We are in something which is rather negative, in which we had a very nice acceleration with 5 waves Elliotist, which left us with the beginning of a week-off structure with a BC, an AR, an ST, something classic. We stop the upward trend, we retrace, we do the automatic rally, we will test by doing the secondary test, and then we sink by doing the sign of weakness. The jump in which we are currently, which is an accumulation of week-off, with the SC-STB, which itself is in an STB. We had a very positive bullish breakout with a set of positive news at the phantom level, and then we had the bearish cases driven mainly by May 2023, in which we had a relatively strong retracement. Here we have the SEC, and here we have the implementation of the news on the bridge, therefore validation of the news. Big news in which we had the first information here on which bridge was potentially problematic, where there was a risk. There we had the validation of the risk with a departure of the funds in which we went to collect the liquidity from that area. We have broken the liquidity of the accumulation that we have in this zone. And we are settling, really we are settling. That is not positive. For the moment, we are holding the previous lot, but we are still relatively far from starting to rise again. To start rising again, we would need something that is structured in this way, in which we create a high that we will break later and we create a lot above the previous one. As long as we do not have this form of structure, we cannot say that we are here in a lateralization or in a breathing. I still have my gold zone, which is in this zone in which I am waiting for a liquidity gain from 0.15, which would correspond to wave 2 here. So for me, I would potentially wait for this area to see the implementation of lateralization, something that would be done like this. Liquidity gain, hop lateralization, we restructure, and we start to rise again. Something relatively clean. So that's a bit of my purchasing plan. In any case, we are still in the spot zone for me. For what? For several things. Because we have prices that are relatively high. We have a first target, which for me would be the ST, a retest of the ST in the $3. For what? Because we have a lot of liquidity that is on hold in which the people here have capitulated. Clearly, in the return to $1 at $1.5, we have a lot of capitulation. And the general average purchase price of Phantom is below 0.8. So for me, we do not necessarily have an exit that will take place, and it will be an exit that will be linked mainly to tech profit on an upward acceleration. Why can we aim higher at the Phantom level? Already it's a question of low market cap, which already has an ecosystem which is already profitable, which has 200 million in cash, okay? So it's not a small project. It's something that already has the capacity to move forward and to be able to seduce. We add to that the fact that it is continually developing, that there is a lot of news and especially public projects that are being built, okay? It is one of the rare blockchains in which we have a lot of projects. Well, rare blockchain with a low market cap in which we have as many projects which are being built, which are just appearing, which are projects that are not totally and structurally financed by Phantom, okay? So these are projects that are intended to be profitable, and that's positive for the ecosystem. What can we set as a target? Target, we could say that we are in a big wave 1, big wave 2, and therefore big wave 3. At that point, in this big wave 3, we could go for the target here of 1.618 with a Phantom in the $5-6, and we could even go higher because once again, we are in a weak market cap, which potentially means going for around 10-15 - 20 at the end of the bull run. So that is to say end of 2025 overall. That's a bit the idea with price targets, which can be above 10-15 at the level of FTM. If we have an ecosystem that continues to grow, that we have a significant valuation of the TVL, of the total value lock, therefore of the money placed directly in Phantom, in which we have a use of the token and a use of decentralized platforms. There you go. It's a set that does that, and that's why we're going to follow up to be able to see whether yes or no we're getting there, and do we have the capacity to get there. For now, I want to tell you that I don't have a red flag on Phantom, and it's one of the tokens that I've been following for a very long time. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. It always makes me very happy, and I am sure that you will enjoy the video which I carried out on EGLD, the Multiverse Crypto. I'll put the link there, and we'll see you tomorrow for the weekly analysis.